कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुष्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं वाल्मीकिर्नृसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानाथं को नयाति परां गतिं यत्पिबं सततं रामचरितामृतासागरम् अदृप्तस्तं मुनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसमकल्मषम् गोष्पदीकृतवारासं मसकीकृतराक्षसं रामायणमहामाला रत्नं वन्दे अनिलात्मजम् अंजनानंदनं वीरं जानकीशोकनाशनं कपीसमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम् आमिषीकृतमार्ताण्डं गोष्पदीकृतसागरं तृणीकृतदशग्रीवम् आञ्जनेयं नमाम्यहम् उल्लङ्घ्य सलिलशरीरं यशोकवह्निं जनकात्मजायाः आदाय तेनेव ददाह लङ्कां नमामि तं प्राञ्जलिराञ्जनेयम् आञ्जनेयमतिपाटलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पौमाननन्दनम् यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं भाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि यः कर्णाञ्जलिसम्पुटैः हरः सम्यक् पिबत्यादरात् वाल्मीकिर्वदनारविन्दगलितं रामायणाख्यं मधुः जन्मव्याधिजराविपत्तिमरणैः अत्यन्तसोपद्रवं संसारसहविहाय गच्छति पुमान् विष्णोर्पदं शाश्वतम् तदुपगतसमाससन्धियोगं सममधुरोपनतार्थवाक्यबद्धं रघुवरचरितं मुनिप्रणीतं दशशिरसश्च वदं निशामयध्वम् वाल्मीकिगिरिसम्भूतानां रामसागरगामिनि पुनादुभुवनं पुण्यात् रामायणमहानदी श्लोकसारसमाकीर्णं सर्गकल्लोलसङ्कुलं काण्डग्राह्यमहामीनं वन्दे रामायणार्णवम् वेदवेदे परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजं वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना वैदेही सहितं सुरुद्रमुदरे नैवे महामण्डपे मध्ये पुष्पकमासने मणिमये वीरासने सुस्थितम् अग्रे वाचैति प्रपञ्चनुष्टे तत्त्वं मुनिभ्यः परं वाक्यान्तं भरतादिभिः परिवृतं रामं भजे श्यामलम् वामे भूमिसुता पुरश्च हनुमान् पाश्चात् सुमित्रासुतः शत्रुघ्नो भरतश्च पार्श्वदलयोः वायव्यादिकोणेषु च सुग्रीवश्च विभीषणश्च युवराट् तारासुतो जाम्बवान् मध्ये नीलसरोजकोमलरुचिं रामं भजे श्यामलम् माता रामो मत्पिता रामो भ्राता रामो मत्सखा राघवेशः सर्वस्वं मे रामचन्द्रो दयालुः नान्यदेवं नैव जाने न जाने साकेते शरदिन्दुकुन्दधवळे सौदे महामण्डपे पर्यस्ता अगरधूपदीपललिते कर्पूरदीपोज्ज्वले सुग्रीवाङ्गदजाम्बवत् परिवृतं सौमित्रिणा सेवितं लीलामानुषविग्रहं रघुवरं रामं भजे श्यामलम् मेघश्यामं महाबाहुं स्थिरसत्त्वं दृढव्रतं कदा द्राक्षामहे रामं जगतः शोकनाशनं जयत्यतिबलो रामो लक्ष्मणश्च महाबलः राजा चेति सुग्रीवा राघवेण अभिपालितः दासोऽहं कौसलेन्द्रस्य रामस्य क्लिष्टकर्मणः हनुमान् शत्रुसैन्यानां निहन्तां मारुतात्मजः न रावणसहस्रं मे युद्धे प्रतिबलं भवेत् शिलाविस्तु प्रहर्तारं पादपैश्च सहस्रशः अर्धयित्वां पुरीं लङ्काम् अभिवाद्यश्च मैत्रीं समृद्धार्दो गमिष्यामि शतां सर्वराक्षसां धर्मात्मा सत्यसन्धश्च रामो दासरिर्यदि पौरुषे च अप्रतिद्वन्द्वः शरयेण जहि रावणी आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहं नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवगौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे तपस्वाध्याय निरतां तपस्विं वाग्विनां वरं नारद परिवप्रच्छ वाल्मीकि मुनिपुंगवं ओम रामाय नमः हरे कृष्ण usually the intent of doing a prayer is in Kali Yuga we don't have time to think about God, so at least if when somebody else is doing, even if we listen, we'll get the benefit. And as I said, if suddenly the Lord appears, we cannot just speak in our language and make him happy. We cannot say, hey dude, you look awesome. We cannot say that. We have to use the language of his dear ones. Whoever is dear to Ramachandra, we have to use their language, not our language. Like that, Hanuman has given us so many prayers. Bharata has given so many prayers in Ramayana. Like that, all his devotees, Sarabhanga, Sutikshana, all the sages of Dandakaranya, even Mandodari, Vyaktamesha, Mahayogi, Paramatma, Sanatanaha, Anadimadya Nidano, Mahataha Paramo Mahan, Tamasaha Paramo Dhata, Shankachakra Gadadharaha, Srivatsa Vaksha Nitya Sri Rajayaha, Shasvato Dhruvaha. Sarvai Parivrito Devai Vanagatvam Upagataihi Sarvalokeshwara Sriman Loganam Hitakameya Sarakshasa Parivaram Hatam Swam Mahadvitihi. This is how Mandodari prayed to Ramachandra. She declares that he is Vishnu himself. Srivatsa Vaksha. In North India, a lot of people name themselves as Srivastav, right? But it's not Srivastav, it's Srivatsa. Srivatsa. So, we have to pray him in the words of his devotees. Not he understands our language also. If you cannot just say thanks, that's okay. But when you have a chance, to listen, when you have a chance to learn and reciprocate it, it's up to us to put that every effort and do it. Today, coming back into the marriage ceremony of Sita and Rama, last week we have just stopped exactly after they got onto the altars. In fact, we went ahead and did what Janaka said to Ramachandra, but today we will get back and then do it in detail. So after everything was arranged on the altars of fire, Dasaratha, Ramachandra and his brothers arrived at the thatched roof where the marriage ceremony is going to occur. They were at the entrance. Ramachandra was dressed very beautifully and opulently, and he was decorated with all kinds of ornaments. When Hanuman saw Ramachandra in Kishkinda Kanda, he questions Ramachandra. Rajarship Deva Pratimau Tapaso Samstitavratau Desham Katham Imam Pravtau Bhavanto Varavarninau Trasayanto Mragagana Manyacha Vanacharinaha Pampatira Ruhan Vikshan Vikshamanau Samantataha Imam Nadim Subajalam Sobayanto Tarasvinau Dhairyavanto Suvarnabhau Kovivam Chiravasasau Vishwasanto Varabhujau Pedayanta Ima Prajaha. And then he asks, you look like Rajarshi Deva Pratimau, like the deities. How come you have come into this forest? And after questioning all these things, he says, Ayatascha, Suvrittascha, Bahavaha, Parigopamaha, Sarvabhushana Bhusharshau, Kimardam na Vibhushitaha. He says, Ayatascha, they are very strong. Samrittascha, very round in shape, your bahu, your shoulders. Bahavaha Parigopamaha, they look like clubs, stringy clubs. How come? Sarvabhushana Bhusharshau, they are worthy of being decorated with all kinds of ornaments, but Kimardam na Vibhushitaha, why are they not decorated? Hanuman is questioning. Hanuman, being a devotee he is, was not lucky to see Ramachandra at his first instance with all the ornaments. But here, our Acharyas have commented that Hanuman saw the four-handed Vishnu. That's why he is talking about his hands. He talks about four hands there. People understand that he is talking to Lakshmana and Rama, so that's why he is using the plural word. That, your hands, four hands, like that. He always uses the number 4. But he's talking about the four hands of Vishnu. Hanuman immediately got the darshan of four-handed Vishnu. So he's questioning. Ayatascha Suvrittascha Bahavaha Parigopamaha Sarvabhushana Bhusharshau Kimardam na Vibhushitaha. So that those hands here are decorated properly with all kinds of ornaments. Valmiki beautifully mentions about the hands of Ramachandra even in Yuddhakanda. Just about when Vibhishana is about, he took Sharanagati and then advises Rama to take shelter of Sagara, the ocean. Then Rama sleeps with his hand on the rock. Then Valmiki mentions the hand which was decorated by so many queens, I mean Kausalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi and Sita, those hands right now are resting on a piece of stone. The hands that rule the entire planet now have become a pillow to the head of the Supreme Personality. So like that, Valmiki beautifully describes his lotus, hands. And so those hands today are properly decorated, and then they are smeared with sandalwood paste. And Ramachandra is decorated with all kinds of ornaments. And nicely, they have the black dot here so that the drishti of people, so that he doesn't get bad looks on him. So they decorate him with that. And then they have a barsika, mani barsika, which is diamond studded thing that they tie to the. I am always confused between bride and bridegroom. Who's the lady, who's the boy? So I think it's bridegroom is the boy, right? Yeah. Bridegroom is decorated with that thing. And then he came with all his brothers, Shatrughna, Bharata and Lakshmana. Then he was walking into the thatched roof. Then Dasaratha questions Janaka, can I come in? Then Janaka questions back. He says, who is that doorkeeper who is stopping you from entering your own home? This belongs to you as much as it belongs to me. So these kind of exchanges we see even in modern days. So, getting comfortable. And then Dasaratha with all his children, he entered. And then Vasishtha started to arrange the altar properly with the grains that are smeared with turmeric, and they had yogurt in one pot, they had water in one pot with all kinds of leaves and flowers, and the altar of fire was decorated properly. And he had all the paraphernalia that are used in a yajna. Vivaha is also a yajna. According to our Vedic tradition, marriage is also a yajna. I mean, if you can see those who are raising kids and going through all the struggles, it is more than a yajna in Kali Yuga, working and then coming and raising kids. So, that Vivaha is almost like a yajna. They have an altar of fire that was properly done. As I said, when you are building an altar of fire, that itself is a ritual. It takes so many days, especially for Agni Chayana, when you are building the Garuda altar of in the form of Garuda. They use they consecrate every layer. First they plow the ritual ground, and then they put all the bricks. Each layer is like a jigsaw puzzle. The bricks are cast in a different form, parallelograms, triangles, and all like that. And then each layer has to be, it should consist of different forms of bricks. And then they consecrate each layer by layer. And then on the final layer, they decorate it with yantras, which are done by rice flour. And then the altar of fire is stoked using Uttararani and Adhararani. Uttararani is the one that is kept on top, Adhararani is kept at the bottom, and then they churn it, and then they stoke the fire, and the altar of fire is ignited. And then Sita was bought and made stand in front of Lord Ramachandra. And then Janaka addressed Dasaratha, saying that Iyam Sita Mama Sutta Sahadharma Charitava Pratikcha Chainam Bhadrate Panim Grihishwa Panina Pativrata Mahabhaga Chayeva Anugata Sada Iti Uttva Prakshipat Raja Mantraputam Jalam Tatha. Said, Iyam Sita, this Sita is my daughter. Mama Sutta, my daughter. Sahadharma Charitava, from now on, your wife. Pratikcha Chainam Bhadrate Panim Grihishwa Panina. Take her from her father, thy bride. Hold hand in hand and bliss betide. And then he says, Chayeva Anugata Sada, she will follow you like a shadow, my daughter. Pativrata Mahabhaga, Chayeva Anugata Sada. Iti Uttva Prakshipat Raja, saying so, Janaka poured water into the hands of Ramachandra. This is called Kanyadana. and then he gave the hand of Sita to Lord Ramachandra. And when they were married, there was a rain of flowers from the sky. And then Janaka called Lakshmana. He says, Lakshmana, here, take my daughter Urmila. Then he gave Urmila to Lakshmana. Then he summoned Bharata and Shatrughna, gave Mandavi and Shrutakirti to them. And then all the 4 marriages were conducted. And after this, there was a huge downpour of flowers from the Devatas. All the Rishis, Yakshas, Kinnas, Kimpurshas, Devagandharvas, everybody joined there, celestial musicians, and then Devadundubis, they blew the trumpets, and then Dundubi is a drum, kind of drum, and then they started to bang the Dundubi drums, and it was all pleasant. And after the marriage was performed, why when Sita and Rama got married, all the Devatas showered flowers? What is the reason? Because they both, here, when you see, to kill the Varaha, Lord came as Hiranyaksha. Lakshmi did not come at the time. He came, all by himself. When he killed Hiranyakashipu, he came as Narasimha Avatar. Lakshmi did not come. She came later to pacify him, but she was not able to. He was pleased only by Prahalada. And then Matsya Avatara, the Lord himself came. Kurma Avatara, he alone came. Parashurama Avatara to kill Kartavirya Arjuna and drench the world 37 times in the blood of Kshatriyas. He alone came, Parashurama. Lakshmi did not come. And in Krishna Avatara, he took care of most of the, miscreants. And even in Kalki, it is said that he will come singly. But it is only in Rama Avatara, he came along with Lakshmi, Sita. And they both are responsible for the Kalyana of the world. He single-handedly was not responsible. He and Sita were both responsible. And this is the greatness of Ramayana. Here, the Lord and his consort, they both enacted their pastimes, taking equal amounts of share, struggle, and amount of agony. Sita went through so many struggles than did Ramachandra. And looking at her, he went through more struggles. And they both together rescued this world and gave us this Ramayana. And fortunately, it has been passed down to us from time immemorial through the words of beautiful and mellifluous words of Valmiki. And here, to this day, we are doing the same Sita Rama Kalyana. One devotee was saying, even in a village where there are not even more than 10 huts, there they will conduct Sita Rama Kalyana very grandly. And it is true. Whether there is a hospital or not, there will be a temple for Rama in every village. Even if there is no temple for Rama, at least there will be a temple for Hanuman. And in his heart reside Rama and Sita. So in that way, Rama is there in every village. And he is taking care of people, even though we may not see it directly. Ramayati Ramaha, his name itself brings happiness. So, when Sita and Rama got married, there was no barriers to the happiness of the people of Mithila. There were no barriers for the happiness in the heart of Dasaratha, Janaka, and the same way the people of Ayodhya. So after the marriage was conducted, the next day, since Vishwamitra handed over Rama Lakshmana to Dasaratha, his job is done. What a great personality Vishwamitra. As and when Dasaratha was thinking that I should conduct the marriage of my children, immediately he walked to Ayodhya and he ordered Dasaratha to give his children. He took them to Mithila. He made Rama break the bow of Shiva and he gave Sita to Ramachandra. What a beautiful episode is this. When you analyze, not even 16 years old, Ramachandra was about 13 years. He walked along with Vishwamitra, killed Tataka, Maricha, Subahu, protected the Yajna, got Bala and Atibala Vidyas from Vishwamitra, and then many Astras and Shastras. Then he went to Midila. On the way he asked so many stories, and he went to Midila. There Janaka showed him the great bow of Shiva. There was never a marriage until then, where a king put a condition that you break the bow of Shiva and then I'll give my daughter. Right? Till now it's like Swayamvara. They'll conduct a Swayamvara, they invite kings, and then the girl chooses the boy. But here it's not the case. You have to break a bow to get her man, to get the girl. Bravery is the only qualification. Courage and strength is the only qualification to get this girl. And then Ramachandra comes, a 13-year-old boy, a bow that was not even being moved even in the dreams of great kings and strong Rakshasas, Yakshas, Kinyas, Kimpurushas, Nagas. That bow has been lifted as easily as a garland, as an elephant lifts a garland. So easily Ramachandra lifted that bow. Not only lifting it, he strung it, and then in taking an aim with it, he pulled the string with such irresistible force that the bow broke. It's all such a beautiful episode. And then he was given Sita. Not only he got married, but his brothers were also got alliances in the same festival. And then Vishwamitra, after handing over the two children to Dasaratha, he said, I will proceed now to Himalayas for my tapas. And then Vishwamitra took leave of Dasaratha, Janaka, and he blessed the children and the brides, all the 4 bridegrooms and the brides. And then he took leave, and then he proceeded towards Himalayas. What an accomplishment. What a terrible resume Vishwamitra has. Thousands and thousands of years of tapas, having vanquished the supreme conquest of becoming a Brahmarshi. And then he sent Gayatri Mantra to the 24th syllable, and then he prayed Lakshmi to see Ramachandra. And then he took Ramachandra along with him like children. He made them sleep on grass beds. They followed like obedient students. He was the master for the master of the entire universe. And then after his stupendous activities of creating a whole new universe in the southern hemisphere, protecting Trishanku and giving Ramachandra all the Astras and Shastras, then taking him and then giving him the greatest gift, Sita, and then watching the greatest thing that has ever happened in this universe, which is Sita Ram Kalyana, and then blessing them, and then proceeding towards Himalayas. What a happy heart Vishwamitra has. And actually there is an anecdote. Vishwamitra once told to Lakshmi that, my dear mother, I wanted to see the beauty of the Lord, but I looked at his eyes, and then now I am not able to look at anything else. His eyes are so beautiful, but I want to see his entire beauty, but my eyes, I cannot move them from his eyes to another portion of his body. Then Lakshmi replied, how foolish are you, Vishwamitra? Do you think you will get back anything that you throw into the ocean? No. If you throw something into the ocean, it will take it. You won't get it back. The Lord's eyes are like the ocean. And if you throw your vision into it, it won't come back. It will be taken away. So next time when he comes as Ramachandra and he closes his eyes and then sleeps, you watch his eyes at that time. So that's why Vishwamitra watched Ramachandra sleeping. And then he sang the Suprabhata and then he woke him up. So now, after Vishwamitra has gone, now you won't see Vishwamitra again in Ramayana. Vishwamitra comes only in Balakanda. After the marriage, his job is done, he is gone. And then Dasaratha took leave of Janaka, and Janaka and his retinue followed Dasaratha's retinue to a distance and then bid them farewell as a customary tradition. And then Janaka gave so much wealth as gifts, to Dasaratha. I will not term it as dowry because it's derogatory. So It's not dowry, but he gave them so many gifts. He gave silk clothes, blankets, woolen blankets, and so many horses, thousands of chariots, gold coins, and along with that, so many girls also. Why so many girls? Does Ramachandra need girls? No. Because the people of Ayodhya might ask Ramachandra, you got married, but what about us? So he's taking all of them for them. So it's a tradition, the kings give, the girls, and then they take them and then get married to their servants in their city. Maybe. So, after taking all these gifts and presents, they proceeded towards Ayodhya. And when they were going, suddenly the birds started shouting in utter loud voice. And Dasaratha was disturbed looking at the screeching of these birds. But the animals were moving pleasantly to the left direction of Dasaratha. They were in the middle of a forest. And then there was a huge sandstorm. And the entire army was covered with, the dust that rose because of this storm. And the earth was trembling. And the trees were shaking like anything. And there was a terrible storm. And then they could not understand what's going on. And Dasaratha asked Vasishtha, why are the birds shouting with such noise? And why are the animals moving to my left direction in a pleasant way? What does these symptoms depict? Or what are they foreseeing? And then Vasishtha narrated to Ramachandra, saying that the birds are shouting. That means it's a signal for an impending danger that is about to come. There's a calamity is yet to befall. But the animals are making the pradakshina around you pleasantly, and then they are going to the left side. That means the impending danger will subside away without causing great trouble. So these are the symptoms that I foresee. Do not worry. And then when the sandstorm receded, the trees started, when the trees came to a halt, there appeared a radiant personality walking, stamping the ground. And he was Parsurama, the son of Jamadagni, stood in front of them with his matted locks folded on his head, and with a Vaishnava chapa in one hand and with a battle axe on the other. And he had a lightning-like arrow fitted onto the bow of that Vaishnava chapa. And then he appeared like Rudra at the time of dissolution. And everybody was scared to death. And the priests among the Dasaratha's retinue started to talk. This is the son of Jamadagni. He has conquered this earth 37 times, killing all the Kshatriya race, annihilating them 37 times, drenching the earth in the blood of all these Kshatriyas. Has his campaign not over yet? Has he started his vengeful wrath one more time? So saying, they all trembled in fear. Wherever the son of Jamadagni went, he was preceded by storm and earthquake, and the Kshatriya race trembled in fear. And this was son of Jamadagni, Parsurama. Why did he do so? At once there was a king called Kartaviryaarjuna, and his sons sacrificed the father of Parsurama. And the father of Parsurama was Jamadagni. Jamadagni was the son of sage Ruchika. And Ruchika was the son of sage Bhrigu. And that is why Parsurama is called Bhargavarama. So, when Jamadagni was killed, his mother, Parsurama's mother, beat her chest, crying, my husband died. And then he took an oath, saying that, my mother, how many times have you beaten your chest? So many times I will annihilate the Kshatriya race. And then he killed almost all the kings. And then he even cut the fetuses in the wombs of the queens, and destroyed the ignoble, the bad Kshatriya race. And he gave them as oblations to the sacrificial fires. And this was Parsurama. He was so cruel, he was so ferocious. He destroyed the Kshatriya race. But Rama is a Kshatriya now. He came here to establish the Kshatriya race one more time. Good kings. That is the purpose of Rama Avtara. And then the son of Jamadagni stood in front of the dazed and surprised Dasaratha's army and retinue. But the priests Vasishtha and other Brahmanas, even though they were trembling in fear, they went forward and greeted Parshurama with respect, and they invited him, and then gave him water, arghya, and madhuparka. Madhuparka is yogurt mixed with ghee and maybe sugar. So they gave him madhuparka and everything, and then after he washed his hands and he was ready, then Dasaratha bowed before him and then asked, "My dear Lord, why have you come here? Has your campaign not been over yet? What is the purpose of your visit here?" Then Parashurama did not talk to Dasaratha. He started speaking to Ramachandra directly. "O Raghava, I have heard about you, your glorious valor. I heard that you have stringed the bow of Shiva. Not only did you string it, but you pulled it with such force that you broke it. Is your strength so immense? Are you the Vishnu? If so, handle this Vaishnava Chapa." There were two bows that were constructed by the divine architect Vishwakarma. Once upon a time, when the demigods were trying to establish the supremacy of Vishnu and Shiva, they said, "Who among these two is powerful? And let's put a battle between Vishnu and Shiva." And then Vishwakarma crafted these two bows, Vaishnava Chapa and Sivadhanasu. And then when Vishnu arrived, and when Shiva arrived, when Vishnu made a hunkara, the string of Shiva's bow broke. And then Shiva threw the bow away and then he left. And that Vaishnava Chapa was given to sage Bhrigu. And then he gave it to Ruchika, and Ruchika gave it to Jamadagni, and Jamadagni gave it to Parashurama. And they were worshipping that bow since long time. And O Ramachandra, if you are strong enough, you hold this bow and prove me your valor, and I will agree that you are fit to be my enemy, and then I will give you a battle today, now here itself. And Ramachandra was not even 13 years old at that time. He was just about 13. And here Parashurama is talking. And till now, we have heard that Ramachandra never spoke harshly with anybody, especially with elders. What did we say? Sachanityam prasantatma mridupurvantu bhashate uchyanopi parusham navuttaram pratipadyate. Right? Sachanityam prasantatma, he is always peaceful. Mridupurvantu bhashate, he spoke very pleasingly. Uchyanopi parusham, if somebody else talks very harshly, navuttaram pratipadyate, he never spoke back, he never retorted back. This is the quality of Ramachandra. But you will see now what he is going to do. Then, when the Bhargava Rama challenged Raghava Rama, then Dasaratha fell at his feet and said, "My lord Parashurama, you know that I cannot live without my son. What wrong has my son did? He is not even 13 years old. He is a young boy, he is a young prince. You know that by singling out my son Ramachandra, you know that you will destroy my entire race. Without Rama, I cannot live. This entire Ayodhya kingdom will not be able to resist the departure of Ramachandra. Please forgive my son and spare him. Do not challenge him like this. He is a young boy, forgive him." But Parashurama did not yield. He resisted further, and he spoke even harshly to Ramachandra. Then, when his father was insulted, Rama was furious. Now he spoke to Parashurama, saying that, "O son of Jamadagni, I know your father has been killed by the Kshatriya race, and you have drenched this world in their blood often and often. I don't blame you for that, but I am not a Kshatriya of the kind that you think. You cannot humble me as you have humbled others. Please give me the bow, I will hold it." Then Parashurama gave the bow, and then Ramachandra took the bow, which was fitted with that lightning-like arrow, and then he pointed at Jamadagni, as son of Jamadagni, and said, "O Brahmana, even though you are a Brahmana, you are eligible to be killed today. I cannot leave this arrow on you because you are a relative to my Guru," because Vishwamitra's sister was given to one of the ancestors of Parashurama. So Rama spares Parashurama and he says, "But tell me, this arrow cannot go waste. As a Kshatriya, I cannot waste this weapon. tell me what to do with this Vaishnava arrow. Should I cut off the powers of your locomotion, or should I cut off the power of your penance, or should I kill you? Tell me. Then the glory of Parasurama faded away, for the purpose of Parasurama Avtara was over now. So then he became a mild sage now. Now he bowed in front of Raghava Rama and said, "O Rama, you are Rama. From now on the world will have only one Rama, and that is Raghava Rama." And which is true. We never care for Bhargava Rama, right? I don't see anybody worshipping Bhargava Rama. We pray like he's an avatar, but he doesn't give the same kind of pleasure, the pleasure that Raghava Rama gives, right? So Raghava Rama, when he asked him like that, Parasurama replied, saying that I have given my promise to Kashyapa. After killing all the Kshatriyas, I inherited the earth and then I gave it to Kashyapa. And he asked me not to remain in his domains by evening. I should return to the mountains of Mahendra, where I am conducting my penance. So for this one purpose, spare the powers of my locomotion, and I shall go to the mountains of Mahendra. For this reason, leave it. And my penance, I give it to you. Please take it. And then he gave it to Ramachandra, and then he hurriedly went away to the mountains of Mahendra. And then everything was peaceful now, and Dasaratha was very happy looking at the glorious valor of Sri Ramachandra. And then Ramachandra gave that Vaishnava Chapa. A lot of people have this question, when he took the Vaishnava Chapa, what did he do with it? What did he do with that Vaishnava Chapa? Is it Kodanda that he uses? Is it the same bow with which he killed Ravana? No. This bow, he returned it back to Varuna Deva. At that time, after he got the bow from Parasurama, before leaving to Ayodhya, then and there, he called Varuna Deva and then he gave it to Varuna Deva. And Varuna took it and went away. So the 13-year-old boy, Ramachandra, he spoke like that to Parasurama. And this is why we say, when we say that he does not retort if somebody talks harshly, does it mean that he cannot retort? No. There's another verse that says, Nachan vitakato vidwan, nashreyasi rato vidwan, naviruddhakata ruchihi, uttarottara yuktau chavakta vachaspati yatha. He is not interested, he is disinterested in, ill stories. He is disinterested in something that is not truthful. But uttarottara yuktau, but in giving a response, he is like Brahaspati, vakta vachaspati yatha. So that was the capability of Ramachandra. And now let us analyze their marriage also. Their marriage was conducted on Uttara Falguni Nakshatra, right? And this Uttara Falguni Nakshatra falls in two rasis, which is Simha and Kanya. Because if you distribute the 27 nakshatras in the 12 rasis, Mesha, Vrishabha, Vrishchika, Karkataka, Simha, Kanya, Tula. I think Vrishchika comes now. Earlier it should be Mithuna. Yeah. Vrishchika, Dhanusu, Makara, Kumbha and Meena. If you distribute the 27 nakshatras, then this Uttara Falguni Nakshatra will fall, like 1/4 will fall in Simha and 3/4 fall in Kanya, something like that. So Rama is Simha, lion among men, and Kanya is Sita. So it's a kind of very interesting to see even how they arranged the Muhurta. And the Muhurta was Vijay Muhurta. There are some 300 odd spectacular combinations which are called Divya Muhurtas. So one of it is Vijay Muhurta. I was learning bits and pieces of astrology from one of our resident astrologist. And he was saying that in the 9th house there should be a planet if it is a marriage. And in the 3rd house, if it is for education, in the 3rd house there should be a planet. So, and if it is Brahaspati, it is very good, especially for education. And this was conducted when Bhaga, Prajapati Bhaga was the presiding deity. So Prajapati Bhaga represents all opulence, all prosperity for the couple. So the marriage was conducted in such a great muhurta, but the date of the marriage was not given when it was conducted. Since most of you are not here, we'll recant one more time how we can conclude when the marriage happened. Did the marriage happen on Sri Ramanavami? Or in Chaitra Masa? Or in which month did Sita Rama's marriage happen? Here in Ramayana, they say only on Uttara Falguni Nakshatra the marriage happened. That's all they say. So, when we study the entire Ramayana, Sita tells to Ravana that when we left Ayodhya, I was 18 years old and my husband was 25 years old. So, assuming that Sita told the truth, which she did, so Sita was 18 and Rama was 25, and they lived 12 years peacefully in Ayodhya. At the end of Balakanda, Valmiki tells that they lived very happily for 12 years in Ayodhya. So 12 years they lived in Ayodhya. So Rama was 13 and Sita was maybe 6 years old, when they got married. So now let us see. And then 14 years they stayed in the forest, right? So we don't know when they left Ayodhya, but they returned back after 14 years. On which day did they return? That is mentioned. When they left Lanka, and then when they came to Bharadwaj Ashrama, on Chaitra Suddha Panchami day, they arrived in Bharadwaj Ashrama. So that means in Chaitra Masa they returned, right? So that means if you go back 14 years, so they left Ayodhya and Chaitra Masa. And then 12 years back again, it is Chaitra Masa again, right? So Uttar Falguni Nakshatra and Chaitra Masa we know. So by this we can calculate the date. There is a Vedic formula that the latitude of the moon minus latitude of the sun divided by the number of months gives the day in that month. So the Chaitra Masa means sun's fixed position. Sun will be in Mesha Lagna. Mesha Lagna is 30 degrees. So using 1 degree and 30 degrees, you calculate the maximum and minimum. It happens to be either Navami, Dasami, Ekadasi, Dwadasi or Trayodasi in Chaitra Masa. Of which Dasami and Dwadasi can be ruled out because they are not auspicious for marriage. So we narrowed it down to 3 days. But from here, we will conduct our research further and nail it down, the actual date of Sita and Rama. I actually visited one of our learned persons here, Dikshitru, from Dikshitji from Veda temple. But even he was not sure about on which day. But usually they conduct the marriage on Navami. That's because on the birthday itself, you can do the marriage according to Agama Shastra. So that's why they do the marriage on Sri Ramanavami. Yes, Prabhu?
I was saying, so they were saying they lived 12 years, so it may not be that they lived exactly 12 years, like we say, okay, they is ready to live 12 years and 5 months or 6 months, 7 months.
Yeah, that is true, but...
So why I'm saying, because in Ramcharitmanas it is said, Sitaram Kalyanam was done in the month of Margashira, which is this current month which is going on after Kartik. Not in this cycle.
Yeah, actually even in Janakpur, they conduct the marriage on some other day. But we need to have a basis for that. So when we read Ramayana, so when they returned back in Chaitra Masa, those 14 years should be exact because Bharata would not live even 1 day extra.
That 14 year is exact.
Yeah.
He will not live.
But the 12 months back, yes. I mean, I see what you're saying, but from the available resources we have, so because Chaitra Masa is supposed to be the Rama's month, because he was born in Chaitra Masa, and he will do anything when sun is in his peak position, right? Because he is from the Surya Vamsha. So in that sense, I'm not trying to contradict him. But yeah, Tulsi Ramayana says that, but Valmiki Ramayana, we don't have the same point. But Valmiki Ramayana is the Pramana.
That is taken from, I think, Padma Purana or what is the other Ramayana?
Adhyatma Ramayana. Yeah. But they are all second-hand pramanas. As I said, when it comes to Pramana, the first-hand evidence, which is Valmiki Ramayana, Itihas Purana, when it is recorded as it is, Valmiki Ramayana becomes the Pramana. The other Puranas that are written later, after Ramayana has happened long back, they can only be taken in place where the information is not available. Yes, from Padma Purana, I haven't read Padma Purana, so I cannot state. So based on the evidence we have in Valmiki Ramayana, this is what we concluded. As I said, we nailed it down to 3 days and 1 month. Which exact month, which exact date, we will further do more study on. But Ramayana can be studied from an astrological point of view also, if you want. But we always recommend to do it in a devotional way. So anyway, now coming back, how powerful Ramachandra is, I'll detail you a story from Uttarakanda. Because we are not going to recite Uttarakanda, so we will do that as part of our Ramayana itself. This Ravana, first of all, why did the name Rakshasas, how did the name Rakshasas come? Does anybody know here? Why do we call Rakshasas as Rakshasas? We know Daityas, because they are the sons of Diti, we call them Daityas. But why is it we call Rakshasas? So in the beginning, when Brahma created waters, he asked all the living beings to take care of those waters. And those people who were really hungry, they said, we will protect the waters. And then some people said, we will pray to the waters. So then Brahma said, those who protect the waters, you become Rakshasas. That means one who provides the Raksha, protection, Rakshasas. And then those who are praying the waters, you become Yakshas. So that's how Rakshasas and Yakshas came. And among all these Rakshasas, Heti and Praheti were very famous. And then Praheti was a noble man, and then he left for tapas. And then Heti was a Rakshasa, and then he got married, and then he got a son called Vidyutkesa, and then he got a son called Sukesa, and Sukesa got 3 sons, Sumali, Mali and Malyavanta. And all these 3 Rakshasas did terrible penance to Brahma, and then they attained great powers. And then they waged a war against Devatas. They humbled them. All the Devatas were frightened. They went to Lord Vishnu and asked for his help. And then when Garuda came, when he started flapping his wings, just because there is a great war, they fought terribly. And then when Garuda flapped his wings, with that air, all these Rakshasas were blown away. And then they were afraid. And then they went and took shelter. They left Lanka and then they took shelter in some other place. Before this, they went to Vishwakarma and asked for a proper residence to live. Then Vishwakarma crafted, he already made this Lanka, so he gave it to these Rakshasas to stay. Sumali, Mali and Malyavanta. I remember last time we were asking the question, why is it Vishwakarma or Mayadana? Right? Here in Uttarakhand it is said that Vishwakarma crafted this Lanka. Even in Sundarakanda, Yuddhakanda it is said that Vishwakarma built Lanka. And it was given to Rakshasas first. It's not Devata's place, it's a Rakshasa place. And then, while they were living there, they went and waged war with the demigods, and then they went to Vishnu, and upon Vishnu, rescuing them, all these Rakshasas went and lived somewhere else, because they fled Lanka. And after a long time, Malyavanta, Sumali and Mali, Sumali, he had a daughter called Kaikasi. And he asked Kaikasi, he saw Vishwavasu Vaishravana, who is Kubera. Kubera is the son of Vishravasu Brahma. Vishravasu Brahma was the son of Pulastya. Pulastya is the son of Brahma. Pulastya is the Prajapati. Prajapati's son is Vishravasu Brahma. Vishravasu Brahma's son is Vaishrava, who is Kubera. So Kubera is a very resplendent person. He was going in Pushpaka Vimana and Sumali saw him and he thought, whoever has this kind of a son, he must be of a great personality. And he goes to his daughter and says, go to Vishwavasu Brahma and then marry him and beget a great son. Then his son Kaikasi went to Vishwavasu Brahma and he was in his penance, and then she stood near him at the time of evening time. And then with here Valmiki Ramayana it is written that with the toes nail she started scratching the ground. I think that's what now even a lot of people copy in all the movies. So then when Vishnu Brahma saw this girl and he asked, what do you need from me? And she said, I want a son from you. And then he said, yes, but this time of approach, is not proper because it is evening time. You will get, Rakshasas as children. But then she was unhappy. She said, no, I want a, meritorious son. And he said, yes, you will have one son who is meritorious and he would be Vibhishana. And then she got 3 sons, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Vibhishana, and she also got another daughter who was Surpanakha. And Kumbhakarna was huge in size, and Ravana was great in his memory and in his recital of Veda and everything. And then he upon the advice of his mother and father and his relatives, he conducted a terrible austere penance. All the 3 children, Vibhishana, Ravana and Kumbhakarna, all the 3 of them conducted a terrible penance, and Brahma appeared and gave them the boons. And Ravana asked, I want to be immortal. And Brahma replied, my child, I can't give you something that even I don't have it, I can't give it. Even I myself am not immortal. So then he asked, I should not be killed by yakshas, kinnaras, kimpurshas, gandharvas and all, any kind of demigod or gods. But men and vanaras, I don't care. So that's when Brahma gave him the boon. And then Kumbhakarna, he was already a terrible monster. Like, he used to eat all the rishis, all the celestial demigods and everybody. Then all the demigods approached Brahma and asked him, don't give him any boon. But Brahma said, I cannot return him without giving a boon. Then they prayed, no, put him in Tamoguna and let him ask a boon that is, that will do bad to him. So then he summoned Saraswati and asked her to recite on the tongue of Kumbhakarna and act at the time when he is about to ask the boon, and make him ask a boon that will be beneficial to the demigods, not to Kumbhakarna. Then Saraswati entered into his tongue. Then when Kumbhakarna was about to ask the boon, then Kumbhakarna asked, I want to sleep for a long, long time. And Brahma said, so be it. So this was how Kumbhakarna asked that boon. And later on, Kumbhakarna was disgusted. How come I asked this boon? And then Vibhishana, after conducting a penance, Vibhishana said, I never want to deviate from the path of Dharma. Please give me this boon. I think many of you have read many Puranas. So many have asked boons about so many things. I don't think anybody asked this kind of a boon, right? I don't want to swerve from the path of Dharma, no matter whatever it is. This is what Vibhishana asked. And Brahma accepted and he gave him that boon. And then they all returned. And when he returned, with immense strength, Sumali approached Ravana and told him that, my dear child, that Lanka belongs to us, our Rakshasas. But your brother Kubera is occupying it right now. Let's chase him away and take the Lanka back. Then Ravana promptly replied, he is my brother. You cannot talk like this in a disrespectful tone in front of me. Please go away. Ravana was kind of a good man at that time. And then when he was sent away, then another Rakshasa came, Prahasta. This was the same Rakshasa who gave an advice to Ravana in Yuddhakanda that by force Asad Sita, if you remember, last time those all came. Very bad fellow. So he came and asked Ravana that, your brother, if you are like this, it's not appropriate, because even in ancient times, the demigods and Rakshasas, Daityas, they were brothers, sons of Aditi and Diti, but they fought each other, they killed. This is accepted in Vedas, so why are you not fighting with your brother? Don't take it like that. So he misinterpreted the Purana and told to Ravana, this is what happens, right? If somebody is not a devotee, he takes the Purana and talks all about nonsense. So when he said like that, Ravana's mind was poisoned and corrupted. Then Ravana, he went and attacked Lanka, and then Kubera he went to his father Vishwas Brahma and asked him what to do. Then he said, give it to Ravana and then you take some other place in Himalayas, near Kailasa Parvata. There is a city, you stay there. Then Kubera went to that place. Then Ravana occupied Lanka and all the Rakshasas started inhabiting Lanka one more time. And it is surrounded with moats and golden walls. And this Ravana, when he wanted to fight, he went and defeated almost all the kings on the planet. And he defeated Indra and everybody. Then Ramachandra was asking Agastya, this all was told in Uttarakhanda when Rama took the crown and he was a king. Then he asked, was there no king on this planet who opposed Ravana? Was there nobody who was powerful enough to defeat this Ravana? Then Agastya told, no, my child, Ravana, when he started defeating all the kings, he went to a place, Mahishmatipura, where Kartavirya was ruling. This Kartavirya was killed by Parsurama, as I told you. He has 1,000 hands. Somebody asked me, does he have 1,000 hands on this side and 1,000 hands on this side, or a total of 1,000 hands?
He used to get them when he needs them. Otherwise, he was like a normal.
Yeah, but was it 1,000 on this side and 1,000 on this side, or on the whole he has 1,000 hands? I was careful. I read the entire thing, and whenever Valmiki he mentions that Ravana has 20 hands, 10 heads and 20 hands. And Kartavirya has 1,000 hands. So that means he had 500 on this side and 500 on this side. So whatever count it may be. I saw one, when I was young, I saw this Urdu Shairi recitals. One guy was telling about Ravana. He said, hey Ravan, तुमको 10 सिर और 20 आंखें. हे रावण, तुमको 10 सिर और 20 आंखें. जब तुम रोते होगे, तब वह सीन बहुत अजीब होगा. Right? 10 heads and 20 eyes when you are crying, that must be terrible to look at. Then Ravana replied, अरे मूर्ख, रावण के राज्य में रावण नहीं रोता रे, बल्कि प्रजा रोती है. In the kingdom of Ravana doesn't cry, the people cry. So Ravana had 20 hands, and then he was fighting with, and then he defeated all the kings, and then he went to this Mahishmatipura where Kartavirya was there. And he went to the doorkeepers and he summoned the king. He said, go and call your king, I want to fight that Kartavirya. Then they said, our king with all his ladies, he went to bathe in river Narmada. Then Ravana also went to that Narmada river, and then he put a Shivalinga. Wherever Ravana went, his retinue carried a golden Shivalinga, and then they installed it, and then he used to worship that Shivalinga. And downstream, Kartavirya was taking a bath in Narmada river. And even in those times, Narmada was flowing westward. If you remember, there are 2 rivers that flow to the western sea. All other rivers flow to the eastern sea. Of course, I'm not talking about the rivers from Punjab, like the Satluj and Sindh and all that. But it's Narmada and Tapati, they flow into the Bay of the Arabian Sea, right? So this Narmada was flowing westward, and downstream Kartavirya was bathing and playing with his ladies. And suddenly Kartavirya wanted to show his power. With his 1,000 hands, he blocked the river, Narmada river. And then the water started building up and then started flowing upstream in the opposite direction, in the eastern direction, where Ravana was praying to his Shivalinga. And everything was flooded and all his flowers were washed away. Then he asked his army, what's going on? Then his ministers and Rakshasas, they flew in the aerial route, and then they saw this Kartavirya blocking the river. And then they came back and told Ravana that he's blocking the river. And then Ravana went there, and then he fought Kartavirya. Then Kartavirya caught hold of him like a pet, and then he put him in a cage and then took him to Mahishmatipura. And then he displayed him like an animal in his kingdom. And he was insulted. Then Pulastya, who is the grandfather of Ravana, he came and asked Kartavirya to release Ravana. And he made a compromise between Kartavirya and Ravana took blessings of Kartavirya and then came back. So powerful was this Kartavirya. And that Kartavirya was killed without any kind of struggled by Parshurama. Very easily he was killed by Parshurama. And that Parshurama, when he handed over the bow, and when Rama took it, Parshurama's glory faded away. And look, imagine how powerful Rama should be when compared to Ravana. A lot of people fight that saying that, oh, Ravana was powerful and then Rama took the help of Vibhishana and other people to kill Ravana. What's the need? He is a supreme personality. Here there is a display. So that Kartaviri Arjuna, defeated Ravana, and then the one who defeated Kartaviri Arjuna was defeated and disgraced by Rama here in this episode of Balakanda. And then they all went to Ayodhya, and Ayodhya people welcomed them with pots of water, flowers, turmeric, and they sprinkled water on the roads and then wetted them so that dust would not arise, and then they sprinkled sandalwood, water smeared with sandalwood and all kinds of fragrant solutions, and they decorated the entire Ayodhya with flowers and trees, and they welcomed Ramachandra and all the new brides, and all the girls were taken into the palace, and then first they were made to go into the sanctum of Vishnu temples in Ayodhya, which is Ranganatha temple, and then they all took blessings in there, and then everybody was happy, and Ramachandra and Lakshmana lived in Ayodhya, taking care of their father's wishes, while Bharata and Shatrughna were sent with Yuddhajit to the kingdom of Asopati, their grandfather's maternal uncle's village. And that's how Valmiki concludes. Before saying that, he says Rama and Sita lived happily, and Rama's love for Sita grew more and more because she was the chosen girl by his father, and at the same time, because of Sita's own virtues, Rama loved her more. And similarly, Ramachandra also made an impression on Sita, and then Sita loved him more and more because she is her beloved husband and he is more virtuous than anybody else on this planet. And like that, their hearts communed even without any kinds of words. If Rama wants something, Sita understood, and whatever Sita wants, Rama understood. And their hearts, as I said earlier, when Hanuman saw Sita in Lanka, he said, Asya devya manah tasmin, tasya cha asya pratishtitam, tena iyam cha dharmatma muhurtam api jivati. Then he questioned, how is it that Sita and Rama are able to live, being separated from each other? What is making them to live? And he says, Asya devya manah tasmin, asya cha tasya pratishtitam. He says, Rama's heart is in Sita and Sita's heart is in Rama, and their hearts are throbbing for each other, and that's how they are able to live. That is why Hanuman is the most logical person, devotee in Ramayana. He is the most intelligent man. So, with that, the blessings of Hanuman will conclude Balakanda at this point, and then we'll get into Ayodhya Kanda, which is even more glorious, because Ayodhya Kanda, Balakanda has Sita Rama Kalyanam, Ayodhya Kanda has Paduka Pattabhishekam. And what does Aranyakanda has? The Jatayu sacrifice. And what does Kishkinda Kanda has? The glories of Hanuman, killing of body, and the searching of Sita, Hanuman jumping, Hanuman's story. Hanuman is introduced in Kishkinda Kanda. And Sundara Kanda, the glories of Hanuman, and Yuddha Kanda, Ravana is killed. And you know what? Yuddha Kanda, the greatest thing in Yuddha Kanda is Vibhishana Saranagati. So each canto, each book, has its own epitome and a crest jewel embedded in it. So it's like a jewel that has, many diamonds, in each chapter. That's the beauty of Ramayana. So we wish all of you come and take part in the Ramayana Yajna and complete it. So, any questions? Before that, let me conclude. Mangalam Kosalendraya Mahaniya Gunatmane Chakravarti Tanujaya Sarvabhaumaya Mangalam. And if you come and listen to it, since newcomers are there, we'll just tell the importance of reading Ramayana. Yastridam Raghunatha Sucharitam Sakalam Pate Susukshaya Gachatyeva Vishnu Mihantina Samsaya. If you read Ramayana every day, it is guaranteed that you will go to Vaikuntha. You will get Vaikuntha here itself, forget about going to Vaikuntha. You will get peace, prosperity here itself if you read Ramayana and pass it on to your children. That's what we are trying to do here. Please come and take part. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Any questions?